to make flax crackers. Now these aren't straight up flax crackers. I do flax and seeds. They're super duper easy. So I will just show you. So I just have a plain glass bowl here. I have 2 cups of water measured out. It's just water. And then I order these online, the U-Pix brand, which I love. I have whole flax seeds. You can buy the golden or brown, it doesn't make a difference, they don't taste different. And I add a 1/2 cup into the bowl. And then we have chia seeds. I also do a 1/2 cup. Sunflower seeds. Half a cup as well, and a 1/2 cup of pumpkin seeds. Now I use raw seeds. That's my preference. I wouldn't use roasted, just because they've already been like put in oil and everything. So now I'm just gonna stir these around just to kind of get them there. I don't know. So see, just mix them in. I have pink Himalayan salt here. I add a little bit. You can discard this if you don't want them salty. And you don't have to add a ton, because remember that the seeds are just, they're just plain. Like if you wanted to flavor this, you could flavor this with garlic or chili powder or anything you could even imagine you could season it with. Now I did, this is my straight up recipe. This is what I always do. I did want to try some some sesame seeds today. So I think I'm going to do that because I think it would taste really good. So now this is my first time putting sesame seeds in, so I'll let you know how it goes. And I think I'm going to use a 1/2 cup as well. I think they'll be delicious. So 1/2 cup. Okay. There. So you want 2 cups of water for this amount. If you needed a bigger batch or you wanted to make a smaller batch, I usually use a 1/2 cup of water for every seed that I put in. So just put it in there like that. I just have to get a spoon. And now they're gonna kind of float a little bit. So basically you're gonna let this sit for, I would say about an hour. You want this to become like a jelly, kind of, if you've ever made flax eggs or chia pudding, that consistency is kind of what, if you haven't, you'll see. I'm gonna show you too what happens when once the water gets absorbed into the seeds. So I will bring you back in about an hour and I will show you what they look like. Okay, we're back. It's been about an hour. This is the consistency that you're looking for. Can you see? So see, it's like a jelly kind of consistency. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to just spread this out on either a Silpat or a parchment paper lined cookie sheet, just a cookie sheet. Now, this is the biggest pain about making these. So, now, I don't know what size this is. This is kind of just a standard cookie sheet in my world. You want to make these as thin as you possibly can. So I'm going to spread this out the entire pan. Now, if you like a thicker cracker, you'll be fine, but, and see, this is the problem you'll get, is like it just doesn't want to spread evenly. So what I like to do is just spread it out as far as I'm going to spread it out, kind of get all the nooks and crannies. And then I even it out after, because it is kind of a pain. You'll fiddle with this part a little bit because the seeds will want to leave little holes. So I'm just going to even this out. Once you have it thinned out and how you want it, then you're going to put this in, my oven goes to 180 degrees. That's the lowest it'll go, that's Fahrenheit. So I'm gonna put it on there, and it's gonna take several hours. And I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be different for every person's oven. I'll try to show you along the way kind of what it looks like. At this point, we're gonna put it in for 180 Fahrenheit for, I'm gonna say, so I usually put it in for like 2 hours, and then I take it out and I cut it. I have some pre-made here, so I'm just gonna show you. If you don't pre-cut them, you can't have squares. So if you're using these for something specific, so I just have a batch that's done here. So if you want them to be squares like that, so that's how thick these are. That's actually thicker than I like them. But you have to cut them before they're finished. Otherwise, you're going to be breaking this apart, and they're just going to be shards of cracker, which is fine. It's just more rustic, and they're still just as delicious. So yeah, I'm going to put it in the oven, and I'll try to bring you along. Okay, so these have been in the oven for about 2 hours. So they're not done yet by any stretch, but you'll see like they're still wet. And we're just gonna cut them at this stage, because if you don't, you won't be able to do it later. So, let me see if I can. You're just gonna take a knife and cut them into what you think would be a cracker size. These ones are kind of big. Okay, so these are going to go back in the oven for several hours. Usually I put them in for probably 4 or 5 more hours, like this, and then overnight I'll flip them the other, I'll turn all of these around so they're all backside up, and leave them overnight in the oven off. So just like the oven's on, and then just turn it off and leave them in there, because the residual heat will dry out the other side enough. And then we'll brown them up tomorrow, and I'll show you what they look like then. So here I flipped them over, and I just left them in an oven that had been turned off. So 6 hours, and after 6 hours I had left them. Now this is going to be different for every person. This is going to be dependent on how, you know, the humidity is in your air, the oven temperature, everything is going, how much water got absorbed, it's all going to be different. So you want to flip them over once they kind of don't stick, they might a little bit, but it's fine. Flip them over, and I put them in the oven at 180 degrees still. I left them for a little bit, but because it was nighttime and I didn't want to leave the oven on, I just left them in a warm oven and turned the oven off, and I let them sit there overnight. Okay, so these have been in the oven for about 8 hours. They were flipped over at about the 6-hour mark. So they are done. And now you can tell, just press on them and see if there's any like moisture, like is it squishing back at you or anything. So now I'm just gonna brown the tops up. So I'm just gonna flip them back over because I guess it really doesn't matter. You could brown them from the bottom, but I'm gonna do it from the top. So just flip them all back over, and now I'm gonna put them on broil for a couple of minutes. So so you can see, I'll use this one. So you want the crunch when they break, like a cracker, right? So that's what the kind of the texture you're looking for. All right, I'm gonna put these in the oven on broil probably for about maybe 2 or 3 minutes. You're just basically wanting the tops to kind of get brown. Okay, so these have come out of the oven. They are all crispy and brown now. They're just a little bit darker. It just gives them a little bit more flavor. And basically, once they cool down, you can just put them into a storage container. They last for several weeks. As long as they're dehydrated enough, like there's no moisture left in them, they're gonna last a long time. So I just put them in like, this is hot, hold on. I just put them in like these kind of containers they have lids on them, and it's a sealed container. I have one, hold on. I store them like this, in something like this, and they last for a very long time. You can top these with absolutely anything you could think of. They are delicious. You can dip them in hummus, you can put guacamole on them, you could put jam or peanut butter, you could eat them with cheese or meats or that kind of thing. They're delicious, and there's no gluten in them, so that is the goal there. And you could use a dehydrator as well to do these. If you have one available to you, you could put these in a dehydrator and it would be exactly the same. I just don't have one here, so I have to use the oven. So that is flax crackers. Hope you enjoyed them, and I hope you enjoy them, and see you next time. Bye.